Hey everyone, my name is Sanjay Joshi and welcome to the podcast. Today we have Mehul Mehta. He has completed his electrical engineering from VIT, and after that he has some work experience in India, and then he pursued his masters in financial mathematics in USA, and he has over 5 years of experience in the field of quant. So thank you so much, Mehul, for joining us today. It's great to have you here. And like to kick off things, could you tell us more about your background and like how did you transition from engineering to finance and like what inspired you to be in quant?
Hey, first of all, hi Sanidhya. Thank you for doing this. A little about me. I did my electronics engineering back in VIT University, Vellore, and then thereafter I got an opportunity to work as an intern at PwC. So my internship was in risk and regulatory department. There, I started with a few credit risk projects, and then thereafter they converted me, into a full time role. So after that, because PwC is a consulting firm and you get like bunch of different projects all together. It's just not like one project. So I was exposed to credit risk, market risk, derivative pricing. I spent over close to 3 years at PwC, and that's where I realized there are a lot of things which I do not know. But one thing was sure that yes, this quantitative finance is something that I'm really passionate about because day in day out I used to learn new concepts, and I was just intrigued with okay what this concept is and how people are using it. So and back then you hear all this fancy words, quant researcher, and people working in hedge funds in New York and stuff like that. So I was also very excited about this field. So decided to pursue my masters, came to US, did my masters in financial mathematics from North Carolina State University. There I was exposed to stochastic calculus, and that is something which I never knew back then, because of course there were a lot of stuff like that which was taught to me. I mean, spoken by my managers, but I never understood that. So that's where my first understanding about stochastic calculus came into, and similarly for Monte Carlo. There's so many stuff about Monte Carlo I learned in my class, and that's where pretty much. I mean, it was really great. My university got a lot of good foundation there. Then during after graduation, I joined a commercial bank in south part of US, so southern part of US, and then they worked for 18 months, and right now I'm working for a brokerage house. So yeah.
Like that's really insightful, Mehul. And like for those of who you are like interested in learning more about the field of quant, I would like to mention like he has a YouTube channel like where he uploads very fantastic videos. So go check out over here there. And he is also very active on LinkedIn and like where he share very high quality content. And like I've been following him from a very long time. So like not just quant, but if you're someone who's interested in finance, go check out his page. Like that is very highly recommended. So I think our listeners would love to know what a quant professional actually does on a day-to-day basis, and like what are the key responsibilities in this field.
Okay, so first of all, let me define what is quant finance in general, right? So quant finance is a field which is mixed, you can say, which is based on five different pillars: mathematics, statistics, programming, finance, and economics. So, and all these five pillars are equally important. So these are the five things that someone coming into this field should know, that they'll be exposed to all these five different subjects. And then talking about what a quant analyst does, I would say they do multiple things. You will see quants working for derivative pricing. You'll see quant working for fixed income modeling. There are a lot of quants working for brokerage houses, right? And then you see quants doing algorithmic trading, high frequency trading. So it's like bunch of work that they do. But end of day, if you want me to define it easily, I would say they use math and stat, and of course programming in their day-to-day life. And their main application, use of all this math, stat is and programming is in finance domain.
Okay. So like thank you so much for like defining it so precisely. And like on a related note, like what are some of the best free resources out there, like books, courses, or any online material that helped you, or like you would suggest for anyone who's interested in this field?
Okay, so of course I know like there are plenty of big courses out there charging really high, and of course as a student it becomes so tough, to pay like 10 lakh rupees or like 5 lakh rupees, right? I know some institutions in India for teaching algorithmic trading, they are charging like insane money. So I would say if you are really passionate about quant finance, these are two books. The first one is Options and Derivatives by John Hull, and the second book is Quant Finance by Paul Wilmoth. I would highly recommend these two books. Start, Paul. Start studying Options and Derivatives by John Hull, because that book actually covers a lot of stuff. It covers derivatives, it covers risk management, it covers stochastic calculus, it covers a lot of bunch of different models which are actually used by practitioners in the industry. And people think that, oh, these are just academic books. You are not utilizing these in the industry, but no, that's wrong. Because I've been into this field and I've been working, so I know, like, if someone is studying that, I'm very sure that he'll excel actually in the job at least. So I would say these two books are really important.
Okay. So like thank you so much for sharing this free resources. I think a lot it will help a lot of people. And like there's a myth, like there are so many people who are not from target school, but like they want to get into the field of finance. So like what things they should be doing or like how they should structure their things. So like even if from they are from a non-target school, they can make their way in the field of quant finance.
Yeah, see, I know at least in USA, things are pretty good. Like, you have good universities, they have like structured curriculum, and I guess quant finance in US, I know like it's more than 20 years plus, they are teaching quant finance in general. So I feel in US it's pretty structured. So if you're following university curriculum, you are good to go. But let's say people sitting in India, because I feel like yours and mine viewers are mostly people sitting in India. So I would say, if you're someone who's from a non-target school, the first thing that you do is build like 5 to 6 different projects in quant finance. See, just imagine if you are a recruiter, right? And if you see a resume and this resume is full of electronics projects, or let's say electrical projects, mechanical projects, or any other, let's say full of programming and stuff, dude, you want to look something which is quant finance, right? Which is at least applying of math and stat, or let's say not just math and stat, but you should have certain quant finance projects. So if you're from a non-target school, I would say have 5 to 6 different projects in your resume and then apply, because then your chances of getting selected is pretty high.
Okay. So I think our listeners will really appreciate that insight. And if a student really wants to break into quant finance, like what is that one skill like that they should absolutely know about? Like I mean the kind of a skill that makes them stand out in crowd.
See, I would say it's not just one. I'll be honest. So it's not like just one
Or
skill.
three skills we can say.
Yeah. See, I would say that. Oof, that's a tough one. Okay, so I would not say like, okay, I just have this one skill and you are good to go. But of course, like understanding the concept and practicing it, build like let's say if you see any derivative pricing model, let's say Black-Scholes model, binomial tree model, Heston model. There are so many models out there. Start building out those. Like, let's start building this model. And that's where you'll understand how the models have been built. But the point is, of course, like with that, you with your question of one skill, I mean, that's really tough to answer, to be honest. But I would say, like, start working on building projects, because that is the way you can go ahead in this field, and start reading books. If you ask me just one book, just read Options and Derivatives by John Hull, one of the best book. Even I would say, if you read that book completely, you are really good to go for interviews. But yeah, I mean, building
Oh,
projects, learning is what I would say. Yeah.
but like okay, but like building projects is very important because I personally feel like that getting that experience, hands-on experience, very important. But like to keep it in a simple way, like top 3 or 5 skills which you use every day, like you can say like coding or something like that.
Okay. In that way, so I would say certain subjects I can mention which are important. Derivatives is really important. Fixed income is important. Time series analysis is important. Now there is this subject called stochastic calculus. Not every job requires stochastic calculus. Okay, not every job, but understanding that topic, at least a surface level understanding of that is good, because not every quant is performing stochastic calculus on the desk. Whenever, like, even if you ask me, I'm not performing stochastic calculus, but when I'm reading certain documents, there is the use of stochastic calculus. So understanding how things have been performed is important. Programming, as you mentioned, very important because in the industry, no one is using Excel. Everyone is using Python or C++. Python is easy because most of them, most of us know Python. So I would say start practicing Python. And um, so derivatives, fixed income, stochastic calculus, Python, and yeah, these are certain important subjects in this field. And risk management, most important risk management. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like there are a lot of courses like financial risk management. I am pursuing my CFA. I am reading about these things. So like if somebody's not doing that thing, like is it difficult to understand these things, or like this is something that they can even understand on their own, even if they don't do something like FRM or CFA?
Um, Yeah, I would say, see, whenever you start reading something new, it is difficult. Nothing is easy. Let's say when when I was riding my bicycle, it was tough. So, and same goes for every other thing. When you were filing application for USA, right? It was tough. We didn't knew the process. So it's constant, learning and growing into this field. So I would say, of course, things are tough, but there are a lot of YouTube videos available. So it's not that tough what you think of. And CFA, FRM, good courses to pursue because they teach you a lot about finance in general. But if you ask me what aligns more towards quant finances, I personally feel it's FRM or CQF because these are some courses which are more aligned towards quant finance. Because I guess in CFA you are not focused a lot on quantitative aspect. It's more of qualitative, let's say financial statement analysis, corporate finance. But in FRM, right, I mean, or in CQF, I mean, CQF is wonderful program headed by Paul Wilmot. I mean, the author I was talking about back then. But the only thing is really expensive. So that is the only minus it has. But it is super program, but it's very costly. So, but yeah, I would say reading will definitely help. It can happen. Things might be tough, but slowly and steadily you'll make your way.
Okay. So like a lot of viewers are from India. So like quant is a very developed market in US. There's so many hedge funds, there's so many opportunities where people can get into. But like what are some emerging trends that you see in the field of quant? Or like is it good for people of this age? Like they should pursue this thing as a full-time career, because like in developing markets, quant is not which everybody knows about.
Right, I would say definitely yes. It's a great career to progress in, specifically because back then we didn't have. I mean, we had data, but we were not using quantitative ways to define to define the data. Right. Let's say risk. If we talk about, we always say in finance, okay, what's the risk versus return trade off, right? Now to capture just the risk part of it or just the return part of it, we have so many quantitative measures, like let's say Sortino ratio, Karma ratio, trainer ratio. Then we have upside capture, downside capture, maximum drawdown. We have beta. Beta is something that everyone knows. Volatility is something that everyone knows. So now people are moving towards more quantitative approach rather than qualitative approach. So definitely I would say one thing is quant as a career is great. And I would definitely, if someone is interested in finance, and because back then there was this thing that, oh, engineers cannot come into finance, right? I mean, when people used to switch from engineering to finance via MBA, people used to do, you just ate one engineering seat, right? Even in Three Idiots, there was this dialogue, oh, what was the use of doing engineering and then MBA and then working for a bank? But then understand, I mean, engineers are good with their analytical mindset. So that is what comes very handy when you are doing this quant finance.
Yep, it makes sense. Totally makes sense. And like, what kind of salaries people can expect? Like, I know there's no particular kind of a number, but like, I know like coming to US or like moving to any developed markets, it's a very costly thing. But like,
Right.
what kind of salary they can expect if they are in US? On like, if you have any idea what kind of salary they can expect if they're in India, like just for freshers.
Yeah, see, at least in US, I can say pretty, confidently. Like if someone is a fresher, somewhere between $90,000 to $120,000 of base, you can check. I mean, you can expect. Again, see, base is just one component that then you have sign-on bonus, relocation, and then you have performance bonus. So that adds up to somewhere between 110 to 130 or 140 or 150, something like that. Depending on which organization you are working on. But again, this is just the average of it. but now someone is saying, okay, and this is like the myth, oh, cons are getting $200,000, dude. Hardly only few people are getting it, not all. But when you people in India, they are just like, okay, oh, cons are getting this $200,000 in US. No, 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 that's not the case. Even I know so many students in my batch, they on an average they were getting 110 as base. So don't think, oh, people are getting $200,000. Just that only few of them, and those are also people coming with a good amount of work ex. So I'm not saying it's not achievable, it's achievable, but I'm just talking about the average, average salary. Also, coming to your question on India, see, I would say in India it depends. I was talking to this junior of mine. She said she got some 28 lakh package as a quant analyst at some investment bank in India. So I would say definitely. I mean, career is good, but again, I don't know. I guess hedge funds in India, they are only targeting, I guess, IITs in general, which I do not understand at all. Why only specific colleges like IIT? I mean, cons in general. I mean, I've seen people from BCom, BCom transitioning into quant finance, or people from different backgrounds all together transitioning into quant finance. So it's not like, okay, only engineers can target quant finance, only very specific people can target. No, no, no. Anyone can transition into it. It's just that you should have passion towards it. But to your question on salary, it's very tough to answer, because now you see, okay, in India it's like, oh, this guy is working as a quant, and he's getting 1 crore of package. But that's like very few people, right? It's not like all of them are getting one. So it's like the same concept how you see in US versus how you see in India. Most of them will be on the average side, but again, salary wise in India, I'm not very confident. That's why I'm not commenting. But yeah, at least in US I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you just mentioned like usually they hire IITs and IIMs, like the people who have very good grades and they got into IITs. But like you are not from IIT,
Yeah.
so I think you are like the true example for anyone who wants to get into finance. So like, what is the like the problems that you faced like when you were transitioning and like getting into quant, and like how did you cross them, and like what you learned from your mistakes in that throughout your journey?
I mean, the issue was with the resources. There are very few resources out there for quant finance in general. And that is like the biggest issue, what I see in this field, right? I mean, during my transitioning, when I spoke to my seniors, my managers, and they all said, okay, read this book, John Hull by, Options and Derivatives by John Hull, and that will give you a good base of what's going on in quant finance. So I would say, I mean, this is like the most biggest issue, that very few resources out there. And I see a few institutes out in India, like I guess Quant Institute and other some institutes, they're charging like lakhs of money, which I don't understand, because people end up paying lakhs of money, and then they feel like, oh, this is not something I'm interested in. But again, Institute, I guess there's this institute which just teaches algorithmic trading. I mean, I'm not interested in algorithmic trading. So doesn't mean I won't be a good quant. I mean, again, it has, cons are working for risk management, again, for credit risk, market risk, liquidity risk, also equally important. You see what happened with Silicon Valley Bank. One of the issue was of liquidity. So a lot of cons are also working in the liquidity space. But I would say, if you're not liking, let's say, algorithmic trading, because most of the people go into that space, in at least in India is what I hear. So try portfolio management, try other fields, credit risk, market risk, derivatives pricing, fixed income modeling. Try all this new things, and see your interest. Yeah.
Like I have read like one of your posts on LinkedIn, and like you mentioned like how difficult it was for you to get like a good job in US. So like, do you feel like networking and like just a professional relationships really help in this industry? Because like this is a very niche industry and very few people who are like very famous and like good in this industry. So like, what does networking play in this industry?
Definitely, networking helps, but it depends on the timeline when you are doing networking. Now, someone who has just graduated, I would never recommend, oh, start doing networking because networking is a long game. It happens over months, over years. It's not just okay, one switch and okay, I have graduated now. Let me start networking. No, no, no. Now, let's say you are in your masters time. So this is like the best time to do networking, and it's not just like okay, I want referrals. Don't just think okay, I want referrals. That's why let me network. No, no, no. Understand what is the work that the person is doing. Understand what are the skill sets that he's using in his day to day life. Try to learn those skill sets because some or the other day you'll be interviewing and you will be using those skill sets. So I would say networking not just to get referrals, but to also understand the kind of work that is happening in the industry and try to understand the skill set that the person is using so that you can learn the same skill set.
Okay. Makes sense, makes sense. And like there's a lot of students who come from commerce background and like they want to get into the field of quant finance, to be honest. But like coding is something which is a hurdle for them because like they've never came across coding. And
Yeah.
like you just mentioned, like Python is a very important skill. So like
Yeah.
any idea on like how someone who is not from a coding background, but like how they can develop those skills? Because like initially I'm an engineer, like when you
Okay.
come for the first time like start coding, it's a little overwhelming. There's so many things that you need to learn. Like how they can like learn those things.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like when we started back in engineering, we were taught C, C++, and those are like really challenging languages, right? I mean, now if you see Python in general, I mean, Python has made all the work so simple. If I want to use a linear regression, it's just three-line code, and no one remembers the code. It's all copy paste. You go on the net and you search, okay, what is the linear regression code, and you just copy paste. And I also do the same. I mean, how many syntax will I remember? It's not possible for any, and it's not just me. I have seen so many cons, so many con developers. Even a lot of my friends are con developers, and they say, okay, of course, no one remembers everything. But yeah, when you are giving, when you are interviewing, the interviewer might ask you to do, and that's where you need to prepare. But on the job, I mean, no one remembers. But honestly, Python is important. A lot of courses in India, people in India they offer this Python training for 10,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees. But there are a lot of online resources out there also, which is good. So I would say start utilizing those online resources, or start maybe take some paid course and get some tutors who can teach you. See, I always feel education is an investment. I mean, you also you I at least I paid $60,000 in my masters. I regained that, oh yeah, just maybe in, let's say, 12 to 14 months, I regain all my money. So it's always an investment. So don't think, oh, I need to pay this much. But yeah, it's I mean, you can learn. There are a lot of resources, at least for Python, online and offline both.
Okay. And like there's so many people like who are very afraid to get into the field of quant. So like is there any other roles which they can start doing and then they get transition into the field of like maybe quantitative finance, but like there's so many roles in quantitative finance. So like some roles which are not exactly like quantitative but like they are quite similar, like the skills that you can use even in quant.
I mean, maybe you can start with FRM. I mean, market risk. Start with market risk in journal. That will help you. Um, Market risk is one of the best way to start with if you want to experience quant finance, because in market risk also, let's say if you want to develop a value at risk modeling, I mean, there are a lot of mathematical models which are used for value at risk. So I would say, and simple, even for volatility, right? If you want to predict the volatility of an asset, there are a lot of quantitative models. Maybe start with market risk and then slowly transition into quant finance.
Okay. And like the hot topic, everybody is talking about chat GPT, AI, and so many things right now.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
the people who are really into the industry or in the workforce, they understand like what is the real truth. Like, so according to you, like does chat GPT and using AI help your job, or like is it a threat like in the future if it gets too much and like everybody knows how to use that?
No, no, no. It's not. It's not a threat. It's a added advantage that every con feel. If I want to code something, if I'm not getting it, just do ChatGPT. Understand how they are utilizing and build. Use the same. I don't see that as a threat because ChatGPT. I mean, These all are good resources, I mean, to you utilize. So of course, no one is replacing anyone. It's just that these are added advantage that you have in the job, and you can utilize those. Also, one more thing is, a lot of people think machine learning engineers can replace quant. Not at all. Not even in their dreams. Don't think like that. There's no way machine learning engineers can replace quants. In quants, if you see, we learn so much, derivatives, fixed income, stochastic calculus, Monte Carlo simulation. No, even one single subject is not taught to any machine learning engineer. So don't worry, this field is very different from what, let's say, what machine learning engineers or what data scientists have been taught. If you see data scientist curriculum, they are taught Python, and they are taught SQL, Python, R, Tableau, Power BI, SQL, big data analytics, data science, machine learning. So where is finance in this? Nowhere, right? So yeah.
Like you just mentioned, like in the initial of our conversation, like there are so many different subjects like mathematics, economics, Python. So like
Yeah.
some of them are very difficult and some of them which everybody can learn. So like what are the first subject that they should start learning about if they are maybe in your 12th grade or they're just cross their school, and like what is that one subject that they can learn even after some time?
See, I would say after 12, see, the thing is, there's always a base which which you need. Let's say if you see quant finance, we use a lot of calculus, we use a lot of linear algebra. So if you are in 12th, I would say start doing that, start understanding the math part of it. Because when you are in the industry, there are a lot of course, you might not use all those mathematical concepts, but you should know how to, how they are coming all together. So maybe start reading all this math and linear algebra. That might help you on the go. Start programming is such that you can learn at any age. Maybe after 12th is a very good time. Yeah, I mean, these are something that I would recommend, because finance is something definitely you can learn on the go. But these are certain things which, I mean, I know a friend who transitioned from BCom to quant finance, and his biggest issue that this guy was facing was in the math part of it. So I would say have a good foundation in math and statistics is what I would recommend.
Okay. And like after COVID, a lot of things have changed. There's so many things that are available now on online. There's so many new courses on YouTube. So like what you feel, like you have been in this industry like from 4 or 5 years before COVID, after COVID, we can say. Like what is that big difference that you see in this industry? Like that big difference after this, like all the COVID and everything happened.
I mean, okay. So honestly, like, one good thing that happened was, of course, the remote job. I mean, people have started working remotely, or at least 3 days a week. This is like the biggest transition I see. Otherwise, see, knowledge-wise, there's not much transition, because, okay, one thing that I see, a lot of young investors are there and have entered the financial market during the COVID period, and this was like biggest transition that I see. But otherwise, if you see quant finance, it's like, not. I mean, this field was there long back. It's not like yeah, it's just that it's becoming popular right now. But this is like it's been years, that decades, I would say, that the field was there. But just that we are starting exploring it right now.
Okay. And like one thing that you love about your job and like one thing that you don't like the most.
I mean, of course, every job has goods and bads. I would say the work. I love the work. Modeling in general, I love it. Um, Bad, I don't know, man. I mean, every job has long working hours. It's demanding. I would say after coming, because we are all in US, after coming from office, you need to cook your food, clean your apartment. I talk with a lot of juniors, so that is one thing I do. So I mean, I don't have any complaints, to be honest, because what I've got after coming to US, I could have never imagined the same in India. So no complaints as such, because every job is demanding, every job you need to work hard. But good part is I love modeling, and that's what I'm doing in day to day.
For sure. And like last but not the least, like here's the $1 million question. If you could grab a megaphone and just give one piece of advice to every student or like anyone who's interested, not just in quant, like if they want to make a good career, what advice you would like to give?
I mean, work hard, read books, or as I said, invest in education. Take bunch of courses. Don't take like really expensive courses. Maybe on Udemy there are courses for 500 Indian rupees, or $5 in general. Take those courses, understand the subjects. I would say my most of the learning, at least in technology side, that came from Udemy. I took one course on Python, one on machine learning, one on data science, one on big data analytics. So pretty much in $20-30, I learned all the technology piece. So but having that curiosity is important. So, and working hard. I mean, no substitute for hard work. And last is consistency, man. I mean, I can't even emphasize. I mean, okay, so you see on LinkedIn, I have close to 32 or $33,000. But man, I've been posting from 20, I guess 2019, 2020. So it's been 4 years of hard work every day. You'll see my post on LinkedIn every day. And
Yeah.
that's because, yeah. And so it's not like, okay, this guy has 32. Now people say, oh, dude, you are doing crazy. But dude, it's like consistency all over the time. So, yeah. So that's what my advice would be. Yeah.
So, like, thank you so much for your time today, Mehul. And like, you have shared very important advices, like not just generally for quant, but like that everyone can use in whatever field they are. And I'll also post your LinkedIn ID and your YouTube page, because I feel like that is something which everybody should go and see, because there are a lot of quality content that you can see over there. And like, thank you so much for your time today. And I hope to connect with you soon with something new topic.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you so much for coming in and joining in today. Thank you.
Thank you.